The Empire Lux Hotel's ballroom, on Manhattan's 40th floor, gleamed under crystal chandeliers, light bouncing off marble floors and champagne flutes. Thornton Properties' elite celebrated a billion-dollar condo deal, their laughter sharp with wealth. James Thornton, the 38-year-old chairman, stood at the center, his navy suit crisp, his smile a blade. He thrived on control, honed at Yale where he dominated Xiangqi, the Chinese chess game mirroring his calculated life. The ornate Xiangqi board in the room was a prop, a symbol of his intellect, not meant for play. But boredom gnawed at him, the toasts too long, the flattery stale. His gaze landed on Lena Carter, a waitress in a gray uniform, her name tag worn, her eyes steady as polished stone. She pushed a drink cart, invisible to the room's power players. James, craving a diversion, pointed at her. "Let's have fun. That waitress, bet she's never seen a Xiangqi board. Get her over here." Executives chuckled, one betting, 5 minutes, she's done. Another smirked. "She'll think it's checkers." The room buzzed, eager for a spectacle. Lena didn't flinch. At 30, she'd heard worse. Her life a series of slights since Harlem's streets. Once, she was the horse queen, a Xiangqi prodigy who, at 12, outplayed park hustlers, her father Marcus cheering her on. A fire took him. Her mother's dialysis drained her scholarship, and her Xiangqi board was boxed away. Now, she served men like James, who measured worth in status. She pushed the cart aside, sat at the board. "I'll take red," she said, voice calm. Red moved second, a disadvantage James found amusing. "Bold," he grinned, expecting a quick win to entertain his guests. Lena aligned the red pieces, soldiers, horses, cannons, with fluid precision, her fingers steady. The executives leaned in, smirking. James opened with the central cannon, a sharp tactic. Lena countered with a horse, her moves quiet, but lethal. 5 moves in, James's smirk faded. Her red pieces flowed, redirecting his aggression. By move 10, the room hushed. At move 15, his knuckles whitened around his glass. Lena sacrificed a soldier, exposing his king. At move 22, she leaned forward. "Checkmate." She stood, smoothing her uniform. "Thank you, Mr. Thornton." Back to work. The room froze, executives exchanging glances. James stared at the board, his defeat raw. Lena's cart squeaked as she left, her victory a crack in his world. James Thornton wasn't built for losing. He'd turned Thornton Properties into an empire with ruthless precision, his Xiangqi victories at Yale a badge of his intellect. But Lena's checkmate stung, her red horse mocking him from the ballroom's board. He left the gala early, the executive's awkward silence trailing him. In his Hudson penthouse, the city's lights flickered like a distant Xiangqi grid. Sleep eluded him. He opened his laptop typing Lena Carter. No social media, no trace, just a 2008 Harlem article. A blurry photo showed a girl, braids tight, eyes fierce, with a Xiangqi medal. Lena C., 12, second place. James rubbed his face. Lena wasn't just a waitress. She was a ghost of talent, buried by life. He'd played to amuse, to dominate, but she'd seen through him, her moves exposing his arrogance. He needed to know who she was, not to win, but to understand why he'd lost so completely. The next morning, he canceled investor calls, ignoring his assistant's frown, and took the service elevator to the hotel's staff level. The air smelled of bleach, the walls scuffed. Janitors stared as he scanned the staff office, finding Lena's name on a clipboard. Off shift, no contact details. Frustrated, he returned to the ballroom, the Xiangqi board untouched. He traced her final move, the horse's path a puzzle he couldn't solve. Why did it matter? Because she'd made him question his own certainty, his belief that talent wore a suit. That evening, Lena's cart rolled in. James stood, hands clasped. "Miss Carter, I owe you an apology. I didn't mean to make a show." Lena pulled off her gloves. "You made a bet." "I played." Her eyes held no anger, just clarity. He gestured to the board. "Play again." No crowd, just us. "Why?" she asked, sharp. James hesitated. "Because I need to know how you beat me." Lena studied him, then sat. No bets. She chose red, her fingers quick. The game was quieter, less a duel than a dance. James played cautiously, Lena with instinct. After 30 moves, a draw. She stood. "Floors need wiping." He nodded. "You're better than anyone I've faced," she shrugged. "Life's a tougher board." The Empire Lux Hotel's corridors gleamed, but judgment lurked in every glance. Lena Carter felt it after her Shang-Chi win over James Thornton. The staff lounge hushed as she entered, co-workers' eyes darting away. Whispers stung. Thornton's pet. A note in her locker read, "Stay in your lane." Lena crushed it, her anger a quiet fire. Harlem had taught her to dodge slights, but this cut deeper. Her victory had painted a target on her back. She saw herself at 15, kicked out of a chess club for unpaid fees, her father's bracelet, her only anchor. She pushed her drink cart, its squeak a steady pulse. Marcus's voice echoed, "Outthink them, Lena." The ballroom's Jiangqi board waited. A black piece moved. C5, C6. A post-it in James's script. "Your move." Her anger eased, replaced by defiance. He hadn't backed off. She moved a red horse, wrote H3, H4, and left. The board her rebellion against the hotel's scorn. The whispers grew. In the break room, a co-worker sneered, "Think you're above us now?" Lena ignored it, but the words clung. She remembered Marcus teaching her in Harlem's parks, his laughter drowning out hecklers. This win wasn't theirs to judge. That night, James stood by the ballroom's window, city lights behind him. "You skipped a move," he said. Lena tossed the note down. Your game's making me a target." James read it, jaw tight. "I didn't see this coming." "You wouldn't," Lena said. "You don't live with less every day." He looked at the board. "I'll stop if you want." "No." Her voice was firm. "I need you to get how it feels to be invisible." He nodded, eyes heavy. "One move." Lena slid a cannon, wrote C3, C4. "Your turn." As she left, the note's sting faded. The board was her space, where she wasn't just a waitress. Lena Carter's days at the Empire Lux Hotel blurred into routine, serving drinks, dodging glares, and checking the Jiangqi board each night. The silent game with James Thornton, marked by post-it notes, became her refuge. The staff's whispers stung. Thornton's favorite. She's climbing. But the board's red pieces were her defiance. She wore her father's silver bracelet, its weight a reminder of Harlem's park tables where Marcus taught her to outthink the world. Each move, H4, H5, R8, R9, was a claim to her past, a shield against the present. James found solace in their game, too. His penthouse, once a fortress of control, felt empty after Lena's checkmate. He'd built Thornton properties on certainty, but her skill unraveled him. Why keep playing? Not for victory, but to learn her language, raw, instinctive, unlike his Yale-trained precision. His notes grew longer. "Your horse move was bold." "Why?" Lena's replies stayed short. "It's my way." But the exchange deepened, a bridge across their worlds. One evening, Lena found James in the ballroom, not at the board, but by a bar counter, blueprints scattered. "You're late," he said, half smiling. She parked her cart. Floors don't mop themselves. He pointed to the board. Play in person. 1 game. Lena hesitated. The staff's latest note, "Know your place," burning in her pocket. "Why do you care?" she asked. James leaned forward. "Because you see the board like I never could." She sat, choosing red. The game was slow, less a duel than a dance. James tested with a chariot. Lena countered with a horse, fluid and sharp. They barely spoke, the board their voice. After 28 moves, a draw. Lena stood. "Good game," James nodded. "You play like it's survival." She touched her bracelet. "It was. My dad said the board's where I'm free." James met her eyes. He was right. As she left, he moved a black piece, leaving a note. "Keep teaching me." Lena smiled faintly, her first in weeks, and wrote H5, H6. Their alliance, fragile but real, took root, a quiet rebellion against the hotel's hierarchy. The Empire Lux's judgment tightened around Lena like a noose. In the staff lounge, a co-worker sneered, "Using Thornton, huh?" Another note in her locker read, "Back off." Lena's anger flared, but she channeled it into her cart's steady push, the squeak a rhythm to her resolve. Her father's voice echoed, "Outthink them, Lena." The Jiangqi board was her sanctuary. James's notes, "Your cannon's genius." "How?" "A lifeline." She replied, "Instinct. You overthink." Each move was a step, reclaiming her strength. The pressure grew. A manager summoned her, voice cold. "Your games with Thornton are stirring talk. Keep it professional." Lena nodded, her bracelet heavy, but she wasn't playing for him. She played for the girl who ruled Harlem's boards. That night, James waited at the board, jacket off, sleeves rolled. "They're targeting you," she said, tossing the note down. James read it, jaw tight. "My fault." "No," Lena snapped. "Theirs." "They'll always see me as less." He set the note aside. "Then keep playing. Show them." She sat, red pieces ready. The game was fierce, her cannon pinning his advisor. Between moves, she asked, "Why play?" James paused. "It's where I'm real." "You see me?" She nodded, moving a horse. After 30 moves, a draw. "You're learning," she said, standing. James stayed, writing R9, R8. Trying. The next day, he met HR, demanding action on the notes. "No one's punished for a game," he said, voice steel. Lena didn't know, but felt the shift. Fewer glares, quieter whispers. The board waited, their moves a vow to fight on. James Thornton's world tilted. Lena's Jiangqi lessons, raw, instinctive, showed him a board beyond his penthouse view. One evening, walking Harlem's streets, he saw kids playing on a plastic Jiangqi board, their laughter like Lena's stories of her father. His privilege felt heavy. He'd played for ego, but Lena played for survival. In a boardroom overlooking Central Park, he pitched the Harlem Jiangqi Community Program. "We promised this city a center. Let's build it," he said, slides showing a gym with boards for kids. A director smirked. "Your Waitress's idea," James's voice was ice. "Talent doesn't need a corner office." The board balked at costs, but James pressed, his authority unyielding. "This is our city." They approved, reluctantly. Days later, a Thornton Foundation rep visited Lena's Harlem Center, offering funds for classes. Lena eyed her. "Thornton's behind this, right?" The rep smiled, silent. That night, Lena found James at the ballroom board. "No move yesterday," he said. She crossed her arms. "Why the center? What's your play?" He leaned back. "You showed me the board's bigger than me. Those kids need you." Lena sat, red pieces in hand. Her horse wove past his cannon. "Dad taught kids like that," she said. Said the board gave them wings. James nodded. Then give them yours. After 29 moves, a draw, Lena stood. This isn't just your game now. He wrote C7, C8. Never was. At the center, Lena saw kids with boards, eyes bright. She touched her bracelet, feeling Marcus's pride. The ballroom board waited, their moves tied to a bigger fight. The Harlem diner at 5 a.m. smelled of burnt coffee and fresh bagels, its cracked vinyl booths a world away from the Empire Luxe's marble halls. Lena Carter sat across from James Thornton, a Jiangqi board between them, red and black pieces scattered like memories. Their silent post-it games had evolved into these early morning matches, a ritual born from defiance and mutual respect. Lena's grey uniform was swapped for a worn hoodie, her father's silver bracelet glinting as she moved a red horse. James, in a plain sweater, shed his chairman's polish, his eyes fixed on the board with a student's hunger. The game was their language now, each move a sentence in a conversation neither could voice elsewhere. Lena's skill was raw, honed in Harlem's parks, where her father, Marcus, taught her to see the board as a battlefield of survival. James's moves were schooled, drawn from Yale seminars and strategy books, but he was learning her way, instinct over theory. He'd started playing to understand her checkmate, but now he played to grow, to see the world through her eyes. "Why always red?" he asked, moving a black cannon. Lena's fingers paused. "Red's the underdog, like me." She slid a soldier forward, her move bold, almost reckless. The diner's hum faded as they played, the clink of dishes a distant echo. Lena's horse trapped his advisor, forcing a retreat. James laughed, a rare, unguarded sound. "You read my mind." She smirked, touching her bracelet. "I read your habits. You hate being cornered." Their games were a dance, her instinct weaving through his precision, his caution learning her daring. Between moves, she spoke of Harlem, of kids playing on plastic boards, of Marcus's dream to teach them hope. James listened, his world of penthouses and power feeling smaller. After 32 moves, a draw, Lena leaned back, sipping cold coffee. "You're getting better," James grinned. "You're a tough teacher." She glanced at the board, her voice softer. "Dad said the board's where you're equal." "No titles, no uniforms," James nodded, moving a black piece. He was right. "This is the only place I'm not the chairman." Lena wrote H6, H7 on a napkin, leaving it for him. As she left for her shift, the diner's neon sign flickered, casting her shadow long and steady. Their mornings continued, each game a thread tightening their bond. James brought books, Sun Tzu, Shang-Chi Masters, but Lena taught him grit, the kind born from loss. One dawn she checkmated him with a cannon, and he clapped, genuinely thrilled. "You're unstoppable," he said. Lena's eyes softened. "Only on the board." Their alliance, once fragile, was now a quiet strength, a promise to keep playing despite the hotel's judgment. The Brooklyn tournament hall buzzed with anticipation, its high ceilings echoing the clack of Jiangqi pieces and the murmurs of spectators. Lena Carter stood at her table, badge pinned to a navy blouse, her sneakers polished to a gleam. The New York Invitational was a proving ground where pros and prodigies clashed, and Lena, the waitress from Harlem, was an anomaly. She wore her father's bracelet, its weight grounding her. She played not for glory, but to breathe, to reclaim the horse queen she'd buried under years of struggle. Her opponent, a veteran in a crisp suit, eyed her with mild amusement, assuming her a fluke. Lena chose red, her moves fluid, deliberate. She sacrificed a horse early, luring him into a trap. His chariot advanced, overconfident, her cannon countered, precise as a blade. The crowd leaned in, whispers rippling. "Who's she?" Lena didn't hear. She saw Marcus at Harlem's park tables, his voice guiding. "Outthink them, Lena. By move 30, her opponent's advisor was pinned, his king exposed. At move 40, he tipped his king, conceding. A murmur swept the hall, like wind through leaves. In the stands, James Thornton, in a plain hoodie, watched. He'd entered the tournament to test himself in Lena's world, not to compete with her. His own match ended in a loss, but his eyes were on her. As her opponent stood, James clapped once, twice, then louder, sparking a wave of applause. He mouthed, like a stranger, honoring his promise to see her as an equal, not a spectacle. Lena met his gaze, her heart steady. The crowd's roar was distant. His quiet nod was enough. Cameras flashed. A judge handed her a silver medal, its weight unfamiliar. Whispers followed. The waitress who won? Lena ignored them, her focus on the board, on the red horse that carried her here. James approached, staying back. "You were incredible," he said. She touched her bracelet. "I played for me." He nodded, understanding. For the first time, Lena felt not like a piece on someone else's board, but the player shaping the game. The Empire Lux's gala sparkled, its ballroom a sea of sequins and camera flashes, celebrating Lena Carter's New York Invitational win. She stood at the edge, her silver medal hidden in her pocket, her navy blouse stark against the executive's opulence. Their smiles were forced, their praise thin. "Remarkable story," one said, eyeing her like a trophy. Lena's grip tightened on her father's bracelet, its silver links a tether to Harlem's park tables, where wins were earned, not paraded. She wasn't their symbol. She was the horse queen, forged in grit, not glamour. James Thornton weaved through the crowd, deflecting executives trying to claim Lena's victory as their own. A director cornered her, voice slick. "Join our PR campaign. Your story sells." Lena's eyes flashed. "My win's not your billboard." The room hushed, her words a blade cutting through the chatter. The director flinched, but Lena held her ground, her voice steady. "I played for me, not your headlines." She turned, leaving the gala, the air heavy with stunned silence. James caught up on the Hudson River path, city lights shimmering on the water. "You didn't have to take them on," he said, hands in his pockets. Lena's breath clouded in the cool night. "I'm done being their story." James nodded, his voice low. "Then lead the Harlem Shang-Chi program." "No press, just you and the kids." Lena studied him, seeing Marcus in his offer, hope, not control. "Why push this?" she asked. "You showed me the board's bigger than my world," he said. "Those kids need your fire." Lena touched her bracelet, her father's words alive. "Give them wings, Lena." She nodded. "No cameras, just work." They parted, the city's hum sealing their pact. The Harlem gym buzzed with life, sunlight spilling through high windows onto plastic Shang-Chi boards, where kids laughed and plotted. Lena Carter, now director of the Harlem Shang-Chi Initiative, stood with a clipboard, her jacket simple, her father's bracelet glinting. Tasha, a 9-year-old with braids, checkmated her friend, eyes alight. "Miss Lena, I won!" she yelled. Lena knelt, smiling. "You're a warrior, Tasha." "Keep ruling the board." The gym pulsed, kids moving horses and cannons, their dreams alive in each play, just as Marcus had envisioned. James Thornton arrived, a box of Shang-Chi books under his arm, staying at the edges. He'd funded the program but kept his name off, honoring Lena's terms. He watched her coach, her voice calm, guiding Malik, a shy boy, through a pinned soldier. "The board's yours, Malik. You call the shots." He nodded, finding a move. James left a book on strategy, his presence quiet but steady, a nod to their dawn games in the diner. At the citywide invitational, Lena's team dazzled, Tasha's horse trapping a rival's king. The crowd roared, and Lena was called on stage, a community award in hand. She gripped the podium, her voice clear. "I didn't come for applause. I came so one kid could know they're enough." The cheers swelled, but Lena's eyes were on her team, their faces glowing. Later, alone in the gym, she placed a Shang-Chi horse beside her father's bracelet, their shapes sharp against the wood. She wasn't just the horse queen. She was a guide, her legacy etched in every kid's move, a promise kept to Marcus and Harlem.